So today working on this 2020 Mule FXT Pro. It's got a bad engine, it was sunk. Gonna do a full engine replacement instead of a rebuild, because to buy the rebuild kit is just a little cheaper than to just replace the whole engine. It's got a sqr372 engine in it, made in China. You can get those pretty cheap from Kawasaki. It's like 10 grand to fix this, but you can get one of those engines off of Amazon or eBay for under $800. So that's the route we're going to do. But today we're going to do enough disassembly to get to where we can see which engine we need, because there's a few variations of that particular one, and we're going to need to know which one exactly we need before we can order it. But our first task is it's still pretty nasty from the mud, so we're gonna take apart some of the plastics here where we can get it good and clean and see what we need to see to get the engine ordered. I have to take this off. Might possibly have to take the skid plate off the bottom. Might do that anyway, just to be able to wash it really good to get it on its way to the new life. So probably not going to bore you with a lot of different stuff. May pick it back up after I get this piece removed and see if I need to remove anything over there, and then we're going to spray it off. Alright, got her all pulled apart, at least down to what I think I can clean it up and get a better idea of what I need for an engine. It wasn't too bad. If you got a machine that's lived a lot of life in the mud, though, some of those screws in the floorboard that hold it in here and here and here are pretty tough. Had to use an extractor on a couple and had to break a bolt off on one. Other than that, everything come apart pretty easy. Some of my concerns are going to be this area here for the new motor. There's a couple of different variations for how it mounts up. You can see the motor mounts there. It looks like this is going to be a pretty easy job once I get it all cleaned up and tore down. You know, your transmission and your engine are separate, and they're only together in the clutch here. So it looks like once you get the clutch cover off and separate all this off, then your engine should just be sitting there. When I take the intake off and the exhaust off, you'll have to get new gaskets. I think some of the engines you can order come with them, but if not, have to get new gaskets. That should be pretty easy, and it doesn't look like a whole lot of sensors to take apart, because you're ordering just a long block, so you'll have to put all of your accessories back on, your starter, alternator, and I'm sure some sensors I'll have to transfer over. May order new ones. I don't know. This machine doesn't have any problems before the engine died, but it was sunk pretty deep in the mud, so you never know. At least I'll be looking to think about that anyway and get it back together and see what we got. But so I guess my next phase is going to be washing it. I don't think I'm going to bore y'all with that, so I'm just going to cut this off, wash this thing up, and it'll probably bring you back when I pull the clutch cover on it. I'm going to take the bed off too, which the bed's pretty simple. You got some plugs for your tail lights. It looks like 2 pins, one on each side, and you need to remove that gas strut. Your bed should be off, and that should give us pretty good access. Even with this roof still on, it should give us good access to be able to just lift this engine right out with the cherry picker and then set the new one right back in. There's a lot of room to work in this thing, which is awesome. You know, a lot of times they're very tight, but after you take this seat, basically the whole rear seat area out, man, it's wide open. So this should be not too terrible. Alright, so I got it tore down to where I'm happy with at least looking at it. You get a good look at both sides now, and kind of see these mounting studs here are what I'm talking about. There's a couple configurations on them, and the ones you can find online for sale. So you want to make sure that one you get has all the drilled and tapped studs that you'll need to mount your accessories and your block back. So it wasn't hard, it just wasn't super simple to get it to this point. intake pulling off. It was just little things that you had to pull off around it to get it off. And this clamp for this hose that actually goes on the intake right here was not fun at all to get off, but I had to get it off because there's a bolt right beside it. That's where I'm gonna leave it right now. Go inside, sit down, look at the engines, and order one. Order a full service kit to service everything. If I pull the engine out before, pull this engine out before I get the new one, I'm probably gonna pull it out, wash it again, so I have a nice clean area, put the new one back in. Really not a lot left that I need to pull off of it to pull it out. Probably just a few sensors and the dipstick tube, maybe a bracket or two. But it's pretty ready right now. But I'm gonna leave it here, go inside and enjoy some air conditioner for a minute. Alright, so made some more progress. Working with something that's been muddy, you're fighting a lot of stuff. Honestly, the best way to do this would be drop that lower skid plate, but the bolts are they're stripping out for the bolts, so I'm either gonna have to cut those or drill them out and cut them off or something like that to remove it, to replace them. The hardest thing so far was getting that cover off that goes to the engine side. There's some bolts on it, and then you got to pry it, and the pry it, you really need to pry it from the bottom. So I did get some skid plate bolts off, enough I can get to that. Pried that off, and then I went ahead and removed the exhaust manifold and the whole exhaust. There's only 3 bolts that hold the exhaust on the differential in the back, and it's all one piece over there, and it slides right out. It's super simple. The manifold bolts were all nice. They didn't break, or they came off really easy. Wanted to get some pictures of this side. They said there's several configurations of that motor, or at least 2 that I know of, and make sure that they've got the amount of threaded holes that I need. And I think the biggest concern, as far as what I've seen of looking at them, is really on this side. So I'm probably going to pull this intake too today. That way I can tell exactly. There's probably $100 difference in the price of one to the other. And so I would much rather, they're the exact same engine, so it doesn't matter if I get it $100 cheaper. That's just money that I saved in the deal. So pulling this to get to where I can see that side, and then I'll probably come back, bring you back then, and show you kind of what I was talking about as far as the amount of, I guess, threaded studs on the block. Yeah, this one's not even using, looks like a few of them here, and there's one that's not even drilled out. So having pictures of that, then comparing it to the pictures of the blocks on eBay will make it a lot easier when you go to order the right one for one. And if you could find one that's a little cheaper, like I said, they're the same engine, so it doesn't matter. If you save $100, that's $100 to your pocket. So let's see, next thing I'm gonna do, like I said, I'm gonna pull this intake, and that'll probably be it for today, and then I'll have to order the engine. So I'm gonna do that now, and then I'll pick you back up once I get it off. Alright, and just like that, we have it all, the bed off, everything disassembled down and back in the shop. Hope you can hear me. I got some fans running because it's hot. So what I'm gonna do now is take this clutch cover off. Hopefully there's not a big mess behind it. It does look like we're missing a couple of the bolts that were in it, but it's got these 10mm bolts all the way around, and I'm hoping we can get to all of them with the impact. Make this a little faster. Cleaned up pretty nice. It's still mud. It's still mud caked in places, but for the most part, we got it out. It's definitely way better than what it was. Now we got this cover. I like to get it out without spilling all these bolts, but I don't. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, nice. It's a lot nicer than what I thought it was going to look like. So, watch the video on how to do this. That's a left-hand thread that you should be able to take off with an impact. This should just pull off once you take this cover off. Looks like some 12 millimeters on it. It's a 12. And it didn't look to be too tight in the video I watched, but the guy could have loosened it up and then pulled it. But we're gonna see what we got. Yeah, I got something wrong with that. That was smart. That's why it felt loose. Nice. Should be one more. Oh man, there's definitely been some water in here. That came off. Probably gonna have to go back with those, get 2 more bolts. Because, is there one more? No, it should be just 3. It's awful tight. That water sign there kind of makes me worry that it could be water in the clutch. Oh, that one went loose. Or water on the back side of the clutch, I mean, that, you know, this thing just pops off. It's come on. That is. And you can grease that. You can see there's a little grease in there. And we'll re-grease it when we put it back. I think I'm gonna get off here, pull this clutch. There's a couple of different ways you can go about it. One is if it, well, I guess it was. So you can push in and pull back. That doesn't seem like that's going to be the case for us. So you take a bolt, run it through here. I think it's a 5/16 bolt, and then take a ratchet strap and try to pull, and then they lightly tap it with a hammer while they pull. I think we're going to try that method, and I'll probably bring you back once I get it off so I can go through the next level or phase.